The following program is the work of the broadcast students of the British Columbia Institute of Technology. BCIT Magazine features news stories from around the Lower Mainland which were produced over the last week. Responsibility for the content of the show rests completely with the students and their instructors.
Today on BCIT Magazine, the story of BCIT students and their part in restoring the campus's Bouchon Creek. The story of an Iranian war veteran and a chance encounter many years later. And the story of a local organization working to bridge the gender gap in Africa.
Hello and welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Folake Adesugba.
And I'm Amy Quinton, and here are today's stories.
3 girls in Coquitlam have built a school in Zambia which feeds 144 children in poverty while supporting gender equality and education. Tyler Bennett has more.
Anoop Virk is the founder of Project Love, which began as an idea simply to build a school in Zambia, but quickly became something much bigger.
Okay, well, we have this idea to build a school, all this, and then kind of came down to what it was of building a school with a platform for 50% girls. So you have like a systemic, institutionalized foundation where you start from the ground up, where the girl is looking at the boy in the classroom, the boy is looking at the girl in the classroom, and from literally preschool, it's the norm. It's a fundamental value that you have at the school. So that's how it kind of started.
Fundraising back in Vancouver is the backbone of the project, with the group setting their yearly goal at $7,500 through various events across the city, with all proceeds going towards the school.
We have like pub nights and open mic nights and like freezy sales and like the smallest little things like bottle drives just to get like every amount that we can.
All 3 project members pour countless hours into the project and collectively feel like they're making a difference in the world.
Just because I know that, wow, this is something, like Brooke said, I'm a part of, and I'm inspiring people, and it gives you a purpose, you know what I mean? When you're just, it makes you feel really special, and it's great.
Going to bed every night realizing one idea and one dream that you had provides 179 kids a chance at life, a chance to break out of the cycle of poverty, a chance to be somebody, a chance to be the leaders of their community, and the fact that we have all of these pillars of education, water, sanitation, and we provide over 3,000 meals a month with our lunch program. It's phenomenal that you can, really realize that one person and a group of people can really make a difference.
Project Love's next fundraising event is a pub night on April 1st at the Coquitlam Town Hall. Tyler Bennett in Coquitlam for BCIT Magazine.
Tyler Bennett joins us live from the field. How many hours do these girls put in on a weekly basis for this to work?
Well, I mean, it's quite astounding. These girls put in a whole lot of work for being full-time students. They have weekly meetings every Monday where they discuss topics, fundraising events, that kind of deal. It's hard to put a number on how many hours a week these girls put in, but it's still an incredible workload to keep this all up and running while being full-time post-secondary students.
And what's next for the group?
Well, right now these girls are looking into building a shelter program for these kids. They already go to school, they already teach them all these educational things, but they're actually looking into putting a roof over these kids' heads. So that's the next step for these Coquitlam girls.
What a heartwarming story. Thanks, Tyler.
Thank you.
After a chance encounter with another veteran, a former child soldier plans to walk across North America to promote peace. Tristan Woodhouse has his story.
To most of his customers, the head halfling is a normal mechanic. What they don't know is that he's working for a purpose.
During the Iran and Iraq war, I lost 10 years of my life, and I'm trying to work for peace from North Vancouver to New York City.
Haftlang has started a campaign he calls Step for Peace, in which he plans to walk across Canada and the United States in protest of war. He'll present signatures he collects along the way to the United Nations in New York.
All the things I had in my life, I lost it during the war.
It was all inspired by a chance encounter with an enemy soldier.
Regarding Neja, that happened almost 34 years ago. The Iranian military, they had a plan to attack to city of Khorramshahr. During that attack, he's wounded. If I didn't help him out, leave him as is, he will be died.
Zahed never expected was a chance to meet that man again at a support group in Vancouver.
He gave me, it's part of the link of the story. I gave him the other part of the link of the story. Suddenly I found that gentleman, it's him. I saved him 20 years ago.
Zahed hopes that if he and Naja can get along,
He's my cousin. He's my family.
so can the rest of the world. Tristan Woodhouse in Port Coquitlam for BCIT Magazine.
Gishon Creek, located on BCIT's Burnaby campus, is set to receive a much-needed makeover on Earth Day. Leto House has more.
BCIT's Fish, Wildlife, Recreation, and Renewable Resources program is celebrating Earth Day on April 20th by collaborating with volunteers on campus to remove a key invasive species that threatens Gishon Creek. This Himalayan blackberry bush is one of 8 species that threatens the creek's biota, meaning all the living things along the creek. Director of the Rivers Institute at BCIT, Ken Ashley, explains that the Himalayan blackberry bush is one of the most pervasive species along Gishon Creek.
They really simplify the streamside vegetation environment, and that's detrimental to the biota. So we're out of the stream now, so the small mammals, mice and voles that would live along the shoreline, the birds that would normally be foraging in there, and actually the vegetation that falls into the creek for the aquatic biota doesn't do as well when you have this very simplified type of vegetation that's either monoculture blackberry or monoculture knotweed.
FRW student and coordinator for this project, May White, explains.
Invasive species are a threat to natural habitat in that they outcompete local species. In particular, Himalayan blackberry can generate up to 10,000 seeds per square meter of soil, and those can remain dormant in the seed bank for many years to come. Plus, it can regenerate from little shoots, so if a piece of the Himalayan blackberry were to break off and be carried downstream, it would be spreading at a much greater rate.
White says the Himalayan blackberry species is the only invasive species to be removed on Earth Day because it's easier to monitor the success rate of one species at a time. Volunteers will be manually digging up the roots of the bushes instead of using chemical sprays or injections on the pesky plants, as to avoid harming other wildlife in the creek, like this mallard duck. Leto House, Burnaby, BCIT Magazine.
Coming up next on BCIT Magazine, we examine the Burnaby campus's Gishon Creek and the story of a local mechanic who plans to walk across North America.
Local organization Project Love is taking on Zambia. The group focuses on education, equality, and giving girls access to education. Coe Taylor has the story.
Is getting matched by another company. Okay. Yeah, that's a great incentive. People do that all the company or? Yeah.
The ladies of Project Love understand how lucky they are to be living in British Columbia. Project Love founder and president Anoop Virk explains what it was like being able to provide the fundamental right of water to so many.
That was such a memorable moment for me because right when we got all of the stuff and they could do it, I saw the whole community come together as one before the school was built, getting water for their dinner, getting water as a snack before school, all of the kids passing, and that was like the water unification of a community. You see how lucky we are to live where we live and turn on our tap. Every single time I go on a trip and I turn on my tap at home, I'm shocked I look at it and I'm like, where is this coming from, right? So.
Fundraising team member Brooke Barlett says her experiences in Zambia has opened her eyes to what true poverty looks like.
And so it kind of gives you perspective on like, wow, you know, I should really be appreciating things from at home, and I don't really have anything to complain about, so.
Through a number of programs, Project Love is improving lives in Zambia. Fundraising team member Madison Desjardins remembers when she knew what Project Love really meant for this community.
I asked them, I was like, what's the story of these girls? Like, why are they here every day? They're not students at our school, but they just come to the school every day to pray, and it's their safe place. And that was when it really hit me. It was like, wow, like this is not just a school. It's a place where the community can come together, and these children and these girls and boys are playing, and there's so much love, and they're so happy to be there, and it's their safe place. It's like another home for them.
Love stands for Letting Our Voices Empower. Project Love serves as a reminder of how powerful supporting others is, no matter what the social barriers are. Coey Taylor in Coquitlam for BCIT Magazine.
BCIT students and faculty are taking part in restoring Gishon Creek. Steve Zhang has more on why it's important to restore this body of water to health.
Along the ground.
May White is a student in BCIT's Renewable Resources program and a member of the BCIT Sustainability Initiative. She's one of the people tasked with the stewardship of Gishon Creek and the removal of invasive plant species from along its banks. Running right through the Burnaby BCIT campus, it was once home to a variety of plants and animals. It has now been overrun by Japanese knotweed, English ivy, and Himalayan blackberry. White says the removal of these invasive plants, beginning with the Himalayan blackberries, is the start of a long, meticulous process.
We're going to have volunteers going in manually removing the root crowns with shovels, and facilities and landscaping is helping us out in advance by lopping off the canes. It would be great to just go in and rip everything out and plant some nice native herbs and shrubs, but it would be a tricky thing to monitor.
Dr. Ken Ashley is the head of the Rivers Institute at BCIT and an expert on Gishon Creek. He says improving the vegetation and removing invasive plant species will have a positive impact on this small ecosystem.
Vegetation around it is really what sustains the biota in the creek, and to have a functioning or healthy creek, if you like, you both have to have the water, so you've got something for the fish to live in, and then you have to have the biota, which is supported by a healthy riparian zone, is what it's called.
Ashley says improving the location will slowly bring biodiversity back to Gishon Creek.
It is sort of a refuge, and if it's restored in the streamside vegetation, it will allow cutthroat trout and chum salmon to exist in here, and that will sort of start bringing wildlife back into the city. It's generally called the sort of the rewilding term.
It will take roughly 50 years to make Gishon Creek completely healthy again, but hopes remain it will be restored to its former splendor. Steve Zhang in Burnaby for BCIT Magazine.
We now go to our reporter, Steve Zhang, who's live in the field on the banks of Gishon Creek. Now, Steve, was this project exclusive to just one department?
No, absolutely not. The event is being organized, the big cleanup event for April 20th, is being organized by faculty and students here at BCIT, but people from the community, from the rest of Burnaby, are more than welcome to come and help out with the cleanup.
And what are the long-term plans for the creek?
They're hoping that with the cleanup of Gishon Creek, it will slowly improve the water quality of the stream here, and that will, in the future, allow cutthroat trout and chum salmon, these very valuable fish, to come back into the creek, and that the presence of the fish will actually allow animals and birds to slowly come back into the area, kind of the rewilding, as Dr. Ken Ashley said, of Burnaby, and slowly we'll be able to see just some amazing wildlife here right in the heart of Burnaby.
Well, thanks very much for that report, Steve.
Thank you, Amy.
Iranian veteran Zahed Haflang is drawing experience from his time as a child soldier to motivate him on a journey to promote peace. My co-anchor Amy Quinton shares the story.
Port Coquitlam auto mechanic Zahed Haflang is planning to travel from Vancouver to New York on foot. He plans to walk across North America to share his anti-violence message and gather signatures on a petition he hopes to present to the UN.
War is not good for any country, for any nation, for anyone. It's basically I lost all the thing I had in my life. I lost it during the war. War is monster.
Zahed has lived in Canada for 15 years, but at the age of 13, he became a soldier fighting for Iran. He's received media attention in recent years after reuniting in Vancouver with an Iraqi soldier he crossed enemy lines to save decades ago.
I didn't help him out, leave him as is, he will be died. Anyway, I stitch him up, I bandage it, I give him painkiller, I give him the vein. Anyway.
Was that against the rules?
Yes.
What would have happened if you got caught helping an enemy?
They're gonna hang me up.
It was this experience that humanized war for Zahed, and it inspired his message for peace. But before he fills his water bottles and ties his shoes, he's filling oil tanks and changing tires. A truck will be accompanying him on his journey. It doesn't look like much yet, but Zahed is restoring this 1952 Dodge B3B half-ton. When he's finished the truck and finds a sponsor, he will begin the long trek towards peace. Amy Quinton in Port Coquitlam for BCIT Magazine.
I'm Folake Adesugba.
And I'm Amy Quinton, and that was your BCIT Magazine. Thanks for joining us.
If you have any questions or comments regarding this program, please visit us online at bcit-broadcast.com or bcitbroadcastnews.ca.